I went to the Cult Bethel School of Supernatural Ministry, so you don't have to, and I think now would be a good time to talk about prophecy. When I arrived to Reading, I did know that they were into signs and wonders, and I knew that they were into healing because that is how I initially got into it, but I didn't know too much about prophecy. I did know that it is something that they believed in because I saw it in the documentary The Finger of God, but I didn't realize how much prophecy was like a center focus of this school. On the first day of school, I made my way to the Civic Center, which that is a whole offshoot in and of itself. Basically, Bethel bought the Civic Center from the city, and Bethel likes to phrase it that they really helped the city out because the city was doing bad financially. So Bethel essentially bought one of their concert venues, like where comedians and, I don't know, singers would come and do their concerts and stuff like that, and Bethel bought it so that they could have it for the school. Now, obviously, this caused a lot of tension with the city and its residents because they did not like the idea that a church would be able to decide who could and could not come play at the Civic Center. So I showed up to school and we ended up having worship, and then after our time of worship, Chris Valentin came on the stage to talk to us about prophecy. He is like the big prophetic guy at Bethel, so this was going to be my first introduction to it. I didn't know too much about it, but one thing that he had us do pretty much like right when he started was he had us all stand up, turn to the person next to us, and he said, "I want you to give them a prophecy right now." You can imagine 18-year-old Juby is super stressed out because I'm like, wait, what are you talking about? I do not know how to do that. And he was like, just do it. Just do it. And I'm like sitting there. It's like, imagine your first day of school where they make you stand up and do those like little icebreaker type things. It's like that, but a prophetic word. So I had no idea what to do. I made something up. I don't know. I was like, oh, what is God trying to tell this person? I'm not really sure. And I just said something probably very generic, and everybody was stressed out. Like, you could feel the anxiety in that room, and he was just like standing on stage waiting for us to finish prophesying over each other. So after that was over, he had us all sit down and he said, okay, so if you feel like you messed up, or you feel like you don't know what you're doing, or if you don't know if that word was right, congratulations. I want you all to promise me that you are going to mess up 3 times this year, that you are going to get it wrong 3 times this year. He proceeded to give us this kind of self-help pep talk of, you got to get back on the horse, and, you're not always going to be perfect. The problem with that is we are talking about potentially life-altering prophetic words, and also you are asking people to fake it if they don't hear God, which I'm pretty sure that's not biblical at all. So I don't know where he gets the idea that that's okay to fake it till you make it. But that's essentially the introduction to prophecy that we had, is that sometimes you're going to get it wrong and just do it anyway. As you can imagine, this leads to a lot of people giving very bad, false words all the time, just fumbling around, saying things that are not true, and people are following this advice because they truly feel like it is from God. This leads into another thing that Bethel believes, which is God is always talking. So if they were to put me in front of somebody, and this happened like in revival groups and other courses that I had, they would put you in front of somebody and they would say, give, Kevin a prophetic word. And I would say, well, I'm not hearing anything. I don't hear anything from God. And they would say, God has a prophetic word for Kevin. You're just not listening good enough. So it was always turned back on you that you're just not listening to God, because God wants to talk to Kevin. God has a word for Kevin. You are just not listening good enough. So this is all of your fault. Unsurprisingly, this leads to a lot of people making things up because they are not hearing anything and they don't feel like they can say that, or else they will be shamed. And they are supposed to mess up 3 times this year. So people are just saying things, and it is obviously like not from God at all. So yeah, that was my introduction to prophecy. And I think next I'm going to make a video about what Bethel believes in general, because some of you guys were asking just like, what are the basic beliefs that Bethel has? So I'm going to go into that next.